Mark here, Celtic Crossbows. Another glorious sunny Sunday in South Wales, 24 degrees and 85% humidity. We've got a new series for you. It's going to be customising the OP360. The last series I did was on the Mankung Alligator, including fitting AR stock system, stock pivot, steamboat cocking system, how to modify the catch to fit, snake under magazine, £90 pro limb, and fitting the steamboat custom trigger. So as on the last series, look back in my listings or my playlist below, which I'll put up later for you to have a look at. The new series is going to be on the OP360. We're going to be fitting the quick change bow system, custom gear tuning gear system, and a new magazine, all from the 3D designer Spraypaint, Dani. So we're going to have a look at some of the things now which we will be showing you how to build up in the series starting this week, like the new magazine system, which is designed to pivot out of the way so you can fit the new quick change bow system, which I got right here. Here's the new quick change bow system. It's all in its kit form, and I'll be showing you how to lay it out, make the parts, and how to modify the crossbow to fit it. Here we have the quick change custom tuning trigger. This will be the second program for anybody who's interested, and we have two kits here. One which has already been snapped up by one of my followers. He's emailing me direct, so one of these will be put aside, and one I'll be using on the video. So it'll go in thus and fit into the system. Okay, so let's again the first part now of cutting up your crossbow. You're gonna love this. So the first thing, as you know what to do, strip your OP360 Alligator right down to its basic chassis. Okay, so once you've taken it apart, guys, what you should be left with is just this, the chassis. Don't need to take the grips out, they're not covering nothing. It's just a piece of plastic covering a piece of plastic. Drifts here and here for the safety catch and trigger. We're not doing that just yet. We've got to do the magazine, which is going to involve cutting through the verticals of the front boss here, and also smoothing down the front pivot on housing here, ready, two operations in one, to fit the magazine system. So that's the next. Now I'm going to be cutting about 1 millimeter inside the upright, same as on the other side. The reason being is, if you take off too much material, you can put it back. If you don't take enough material, you can file it away nice and quietly with a hand file to the exact size you need. So first job then, gently cut the notch out on the front. You could use a hacksaw, a coping saw. I'm going to use a Dremel, and we'll be back now when she's hacked apart. Okay, first part done. The jaws is open. Now see these little steps on the inside? You can now get them nice with your Dremel or hacksaw and take them out. Much quicker and easier with a Dremel, because you're going to faff about with a saw for half an hour, literally seconds. So we're going to clean up these edges now with a Dremel. File out the front of this by here and chop the front off by here. Okay, my little hacksters, after 5 minutes of chopping, cutting, filing and faffing about, what you should end up is something looking like this. As you can see here now, the jaws are nicely filed out and quite flush. Maybe I have to do a little bit more filing, I don't know yet. A little bit of material down in there. The front is now be taken down. A little bit more filing would make this nice. Maybe give it a spray paint over if you want that factory finish. So that's now come out the front and the front. You need the front off for the quick fit knob to lock the assembly in. Okay, these have been filed out as well. You can see here. This is for the magazine system in preparation. Okay, so that's the next section. Okay, folks. So you filed your riser, and you've got your locking clamp for your bowling, which just fits in like so. Just sits in there. You can see the space for your bow behind, and you put your clamps on the back. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. There's a little recess you can see in the light. If you're fitting a magazine, and you probably will, there is no need to fit the steel plate at the front to lock the bow in place. The bow will be locked in place by the magazine, so there's no need to fit the screw in the front. And you can just put the rubber pad, I'll show you there, there's a hole through, and the normal rubber pad you put in, you can just put one in the front of there, you take your bowl in, thus, so it sits in. Come on, you a little bigger. It sits in, so it locks down in. So when you bring your magazine down on top, it'll lock the bowl in place. It is not going to come out, trust me. If you're going to use it as a pistol instead of a magazine, you can put the steel plate inside and put a bolt through the front with the hand tightening, which I'll show you now. Right then, okay guys, assuming you got this far, the next thing you want to be building up is the auto bow limb housing. You'll have your front piece and your two side gates. Assuming the deep notch sits down in the V down in the front, thus, so have the clearance of the railing top here. These parts then, you've got a little bit of a noddy cut out on the side, fits in the top, there. So the noddy goes on the inside towards the top. Okay, so I'll show you out on the assembled one. So here's your limb, here's your cutout there which goes in the bottom, put it out there for you guys. Your noddy now, as you can see, the cutouts on the inside, in the top. This sits down in the rail. It is a tight fit, mine's a very tight fit, that's why I like it. Just be a second. Get in, you fucker. There you are. So we now see how she fits in here. If you wish, you can take some of this down on the front, same as on the Steamboat website, or they show to do it on their version. So you can take some of this down the front, and you can see bringing the cam side down. See it fit in the back with your 4 nuts and 4 Allen head bolts. That's what I've used. Sizes I'll include in the listing below. There's a few more steps if you want to do them. On the inside is a square recess to put in either your metal pad. So when you put your bolt through the front of your Alligator OP360, you put your bolt in through here, it'll go inside, it'll fit flush against the metal pad. Same as it would go in straight against your normal bowling. I, however, haven't done it that way. If I can get the bugger out, because once he's in tight. All I've done, or opted to do, a little dab of Alligator, and in the front you have a space for a screw. Just Alligator your screw in there, and when you tighten with your bolt, it'll press against there and lock it just the same. You use the front bolt off your crossbow. So when it goes in through the front, using the original bolt, now goes in through there, tightens, and there you are pressing against what would be your metal plate by here. Now we're pressing against that screw and locking it in. This is only necessary if you're not fitting the magazine. If you're not fitting the magazine, you'll need to do this because the bowline will eventually weigh and work its way out. So this is just the initial locking system. If you're using the magazine to lock it in, because it will be pressing down on here, you will not need to do that. You can if you wish, but you don't need to. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you now the fully assembled It'll just take me a second, quite literally. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show you this assembled. Inside the barber here, I put the rubber pressure pad to grip the bar to stop lateral movement. I've arrowdated the screw, or nut down into the recess there. This now just clips in with a little bit of a twiddle, a little bit of muscle. Here I clicked in, do you hear that? And then with your screw on the front, you screw it in. Can't do it tight because this is fresh arrowlite. It just locks in and holds it there. It's not to be wrenched up like you're on a power bar. All it's for is to stabilise the limb to stop it from popping up. So it's not on tight. And here we are with stage 1 of our custom conversion. The rib is sitting below the primary rib of the crossbow, so it's not going to catch or damage any of the movement on the way out. And I'm going to run a little file up through here now, just to take that knock out. Okay guys, one more thing, just to show you. Just filing down the top of that notch there now, so make sure it clears the bolt on the way out. You can put the pressure pad here, but as you can see, it's too wide to fit in, so you can either trim down the pad or just file away the gates at either side, or you can do what I've done, just arrowdate a screw in there, so when you put the bolt through to the front, the screw pushes into the nut, because it's a bigger screw altogether, it pushes into the nut and I'll lock it in and I'll be adequate. Or like I said, okay, so a piece of metal like this, 2 mils, your normal pressure pad of a Mankung, that'll fit in there. You just need to file out the gap here, and then when you put the bolt in, it'll press against the pressure pad instead of the nut. But for me, they'll just put a nut in there and a drop of arrowlite, much quicker. And same again when you're making your speed nut for doing without tool assistance. You just take your normal nut for retaining your prod, fill the cap with arrowlite, squeeze it on and wipe off any of the excess. Okay, so you'll see now the finished product. Okay guys, here we are now. We got the finished quick release bow system. Bring it to the camera so you can see. Okay. I now use a bit of Bic magic marker on there to paint it, bring it in, because there was some white coming to the plastic from filing, and bring it up tidy. So just to finish it up, use a bit of magic marker, bring it brown so you look from the back. Some of the eagle-eyed of you will have already noticed, you have no way to cock crossbow because it's there. What you need is a front grip, something like this from Mankung, and they're only £25. And that locks then to give you, obviously she's not locked in, I've got screwed in, your leverage end to cock your crossbow. Because unfortunately now, because with the modification for the front, this system, if you lose your grip, you can still fall back to this, even though your fingers are in front of that. I wouldn't recommend it, but you've got it back up. So there's pros and cons for and against on this system. But what have you got is now, when we come in for part 2 of this build, and it will be the fitting of the new magazine system. Is designed that way, I think it's that way up actually, yeah. So when it's there, you can actually fold on the front, because it's got there, because it comes down over. So it'll fold around the pivot like that. Okay, actually I think it's that way. Yeah, folds around like that. So that's part 1 of modifying your OP360. I hope you enjoyed it. Please click like and subscribe. The build kits will be going up on my coffee shop tomorrow on Monday, complete with the sidebars, the Allen bolts and screws. £25 for the kit, roughly $30 US. Because your time I print, pay for import duty, posting, etc. And people say, oh well, I can print it myself for that. But there's people out there who can't afford a computer, a 3D printer, the filament to fill it, the software to use it. So for those of you who won't got access to a printer, this is a cheap alternative. So if you're thinking £25 is expensive, when you consider it's about £150 to print an Alligator, it's actually quite cheap. As you can tell, I'm pretty tired, so I'm going to sign off for the night now. And please like, subscribe, and join me over on my coffee page for insider tips, etc., and things like that. Thanks and bye bye.